Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gopinath, Radha Gopinath Shri Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jagannath Swami Nayana Pathagami, Nayana Pathagami Bhava Tume. Jayam Gauranithai, 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 Jaya Gauranithai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nittai Gaura Haribol, 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 Nittai Gaura Haribol. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari. Namo Vishwapad Paramahansa Prajvajacharya Ashtattar Shata History Divine Grace Abhayacharya Vinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya, Beauty Founder Acharya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नमाचार्य शिलहिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासति श्री गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर गोवर्धन की जय। श्री श्री वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय। श्री श्री नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। गंगामय जमुनामय की जय। भक्ति प्रदायिनी श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। उपस्थित समवेत गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Namo Vishpadaya Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we are reading from Canto 2, Chapter 8, titled Questions by King Parikshit, text number 24. 24, right? Yeah. Sarvam etacha bhagavan. Sarvam etacha bhagavan. Prichatu me anupurvasaha. Prichato me anupurvasaha. Tadvato harshi udhahartum. Tadvato aharshi udhahartum. Prapanyamaha mune. Prapannayamaha mune. Sarvameta cha bhagavan. Prichato me anupurvasaha. Tadvata harshi udhahartum. Prapannaya mahamune. Sarvam etacha bhagavan. Prichato me anupurvasaha. Tadvata harshi udhahartum. Prapannaya mahamune. Sarvam etacha bhagavan. Prichato me anupurvasaha. Tadvata arhashi udhartum. Prapannaya mahamune. Word by word translation. Sarvam, all this. Etat, inquiries. Cha, also that I have not been able to ask. Bhagavan, O great sage. Prichataha, of the inquisitive. Me, sorry, it's not me, it's me. Myself. Anupurvashaha, from the beginning. Tadvataha, just in accordance with the truth. Arhasi, may kindly be explained. Udahartam, as you will let know. Prapannaya, one who is surrounded. Mahamune, O great sage. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. O great sage, representative of the Lord, kindly satisfied me in inquisitiveness in all that I have inquired from you and all that I may not have inquired from you from the very beginning of my questioning. Since I am a soul surrendered unto you, please impart full knowledge in this connection. The Bhaktivedanta purport. The spiritual master is always prepared to impart knowledge to the disciple, and specifically when the disciple is very inquisitive. Inquisitiveness on the part of a disciple is greatly necessary for the progressive disciple. Maharaj Parikshit is a typical disciple because he is perfectly inquisitive. If one is not very inquisitive about self-realization, one need not approach a spiritual master simply to make a show of discipleship. Not only is Maharaj Parikshit inquisitive concerning all he has inquired about, but he is also anxious to know about what he has not been able to inquire. Factually, it is not possible for a man to inquire everything from the spiritual master. But the bona fide spiritual master is able to enlighten the disciple in every way for the disciple's benefit. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svadantikam Vandeham Shri Yuta Shri Pavakamalam Shri Rupamsha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Tam Sajivam Swadvaitam Savadutam Vaigana Shahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Shadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kaviviriritam kalmashapaham Shravana mangalam Shrimadatakam Bhuvi Grinnati Devurida Jana Bhuvi Grinnati Devurida Jana Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So this verse actually describes the whole principle based on which Srimad Bhagavatam has been presented. So it's been although the purport is very short, but if you just read it, it just says how one should progress in our spiritual life. And actually it's not only the progress, how it begins, right? It begins with inquisitiveness. So here we see Parikshit Maharaj, he knew that he is going to die after 7 days. And then what he is thinking about that, okay, what these questions that all coming to him. Okay, now I have to leave this body. So what should I know? In my whole life I was always busy with my worldly affairs. He was a king. But now as I am about to leave, let me understand. Let me understand about the other part, the spiritual realm of this universe, how I'm going to understand, how it's going to actually, when I'm going to leave my body, what is going to actually help me, because I don't know. So he started all this question, so that's why it says that this inquisitiveness is very important, because without that it's very hard to progress. And if we try to understand why, there are a few things that we can discuss. First of all, that we are in this material, we are this world, we are in, it's three-dimensional, right? So we know that it's three-dimensional. The spiritual realm is in the fifth dimension. And the fourth dimension is the subtle nature. So obviously subtle nature we don't understand, we don't even perceive, we don't even see. The fifth dimension is the spiritual realm. So obviously that is something which is beyond the vision of any mundane, or any kind of normal population that is outside the vision, peripheral of the vision. It's just within the 3D that we are talking about, the 3 dimension that we can see. It's out of the peripheral of the spiritual realm, is outside that. So to bring that within our vision, and then not only to vision, then we see that, we understand that. We see that, we understand that, and we then apply that. Because it's not simply enough that we see the devotees. The first thing, we see the devotees, right? We see all the exalted devotees, and we get inspired by them, right? That is the first thing. Like we all got like that. We came, we met with devotees, and we came to the temple. We saw the programs. We tested the prasadam. That is the first step. So we see that, and we get inspired by that. The next thing, that we started associating with the devotees. And when we are putting more of our time with them, then we see that what's happening when we are putting more and more time with them, we are getting the knowledge from them. That actually what is this? Like what is this Krishna consciousness is? And why it is beneficial for me? This is a very fundamental thing. Everyone went through this journey. What is this? What is in it for me? Right? I am going to spend my weekends on coming to the temple, or spending my time on these programs. But then when someone have this started to get this knowledge, right, in a submissive manner, it's very important to understand that. When we are, it's a very big difference when someone is getting the knowledge in a submissive manner, and when someone is getting the knowledge in a challenging manner. And submissive manner is they when they are listening to it, it makes sense to them. So they say, okay, I want to listen to more. And when we are doing it in a challenging mode, means that usually come from a very highly materialistic educational background, and or with false ego very high, that whatever you are saying, I am the right one, whatever you say doesn't make any sense to me, and I want to make you wrong, I want to prove you wrong. So there is nothing what you're talking about, the spiritual life, afterlife, soul. No, this is only this life, this body, and that's finished. So I have to enjoy. So when they actually try to come here and understand, try to understand, take the knowledge. First of all, at the beginning, it actually remains in the challenging mode. Always challenges, So if you're not acquiring the knowledge in a submissive way, that knowledge is never going to help you. It's kind of counterproductive. You are coming to take something which is going to benefit you, but your inner self, and when I say inner self, is the soul? No. It's the subtle, the false ego, the mind. They are pushing it out. And why it is pushing it out? Because the material desires is quite high there. Somehow or other, in their mind, that thing is it's like this is a fight which is happening between from the time immemorial, between the good and the evil, right? And it's saying that, hang on, if you go and spend time on these activities, that means you have to get rid of these material desires which you really enjoy. Do you want to get rid of it? And then the other side is saying, no, I don't want to. So let's Let's fight it out. So that from that it comes that someone actually thinks that, okay, I want to prove them wrong, saying that no, what I'm doing is the right thing. So, but we see that that's the beauty of the, with the Srimad Bhagavatam, the knowledge that someone sometimes when they come and with a challenging mood, and then they not try to take the knowledge, but after some times the transformation happens. But you don't know how that transformation happens. The transformation only happens when they go through the devotional service. Like sometimes, some people, they come, they are not very much convinced what we are saying to them, right? So they say, okay. But then they say, hey, I need some help in the kitchen. We are very much down, can you come over? And they might come over. They said, yeah, they see it as a humanitarian or like a volunteer service. Yeah, I'll come. What do you want me to do? And they say, okay, can you please do this? Can you? And then unknowingly, they also started getting involved with the devotional service. And when that devotional service is happening, with the association of the devotees, that's actually started to change the heart. And then suddenly, the next time, when they sit in a class, that challenging mood is not there much. Because there is a sense of appreciation and gratitude. When someone is serving in the temple, we go and we say, oh, we really appreciate your service. We offer our gratitude to you, right? And suddenly, those people think, hang on, this is just a voluntary service. I haven't done anything which is great. I just came and did 3 hours, I just did something. Compared to I work 80 hours in my work, nobody appreciates, even though everyone criticizes. So why they are doing like this? But that is the culture of appreciation and gratitude. When that happens, then they will suddenly start to see that, okay, that's nice. So this is the thing, to come, to the journey, when they actually find that this is a place where there is appreciation, there is gratitude there, then said, okay. And then they try to put the dot, okay, where this is coming from, why they are behaving like that. Then they come to understand the knowledge which is coming from. Jivera Sarupahoy Krishna Nitya Das. There is a mood of servitorship. We are here to serve everyone. We are not here to exploit. So when this understanding start to come, they said, okay, this is something different. But but here is the, if I, whatever I have said in last, few minutes, how this change is happening, because the people who are in that challenging mode, they got that knowledge, theoretical knowledge, right? But then when that knowledge becomes applied knowledge, then that transformation happens. The theoretical knowledge actually doesn't help much in the transformation. It's the applied knowledge. So that is the difference between the Gyan and Vigyan. So when someone actually goes through that phase, then actually it starts to help them. Even someone, if you see that someone is in a submissive mode, right, and they are just getting the knowledge. Oh, I'm just gaining the knowledge, but I'm not getting involved into any service or anything like that. You see that ultimately, yes, they will be in a platform, in a better than normal, mundane population, but the ultimate benefit will not be there until that applied knowledge, when you apply, how the applying knowledge is through devotional service. That's why everywhere this emphasis is there that you have to have devotional service. Yeah, and it doesn't mean you have to be, you can go somewhere outside, you can do Harinam, you can do other preaching program, outreach program, but there needs to be devotional service. Because devotional service is the one which is putting this theoretical knowledge to application. So here, to come to that and understand that we are, in this purport, it's saying that first of all that inquisitiveness needs to be there. for someone that, okay, what's happening, like why it's like that, it's good. But if it is just only inquisitiveness for theoretical knowledge, it's very dry. After some time, it will not attract you. But that's, and also from our limited senses, we will not be able to explore everything. So that's why it's important that what's here, it's been explained that to take shelter of the spiritual master. Then the spiritual master, as per our current, time, place, and circumstances, he knew that, okay, what this person is in, situated, and as per that, the spiritual master will help that person. The spiritual masters, a devotee becomes spiritual master to help others. That's the mood, right? And that's what we see from Srila Prabhupada. Was there anything necessary for him to leave Vrindavan and go to US? He was very nicely situated there in the, just opposite the Samadhi of Rupa Goswami. Got a nice room there for his sadhana, for the later part of his life. But he just said, no, that's not what I should do. I should go and help. And obviously they fulfilled the instruction of his guru. So he went there and he did that. At a very advanced age, he helped all of them. So that's the thing, spiritual master, he sins. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashana sevaya upadekshantide jnanam jnanis tatta darshina. So the spiritual master has seen the truth. And from that, and they know that exactly that person who actually came, first of all, they can straight away find out that if that person is submissive or not. Even if someone is not submissive, doesn't mean that he will disregard them. He will still, give them the direction and give them, tell them to do, I often, so most, in ISKCON, most of the sannyasis, when they're meeting someone, there's one common theme every time they say, okay, do the chanting nicely. Do the chanting nicely. Because again, this chanting is something to bring them to this platform, do the chanting nicely, and then do some service. So with that, actually, you are bringing them in that platform, of spiritual platform. Because other than that, it's very most of the time you see that people come, approach a sannyasi, sit down and they started telling all their problems, right? That's the common theme. Oh, my family is this, my work is this, and things like that. And practically sannyasis, they are not going to give the specific solution for that specific problem, right? They will not be. But this is from our culture, we have this thing that, okay, I'm just going to go and tell everything. And it will give some peace of my heart. And then I'm waiting. Can you please tell me what's the solution? No, they will not be giving you any specific solution. But they will give you the ultimate solution. Not specific solution for your small issues, but the ultimate solution. And now it's up to you. Now if someone is submissive, they will take that. They will take that and they will say, okay, I'm going to follow this. And then spiritual master also as per the situation of the person, spiritual master will also instruct that how they should proceed in the spiritual life, the service they should do, everything. Now it's up to the disciple, if the disciple like to take it or not. So, it's and everyone's relation is different, right? Your relationship with your spiritual master, my relationship with my spiritual master, everyone has a very different relationship. But from a disciple perspective, the main thing is the disciple needs to be always submissive. And should, for a disciple perspective, the main aim should be always serve the spiritual master. When my main aim is to, if I serve my spiritual master, in that way, my knowledge that I have received, right, that knowledge will transform from the theoretical part to the applied, or the realized knowledge. In that way only it will be happening. So it's not only necessary that, okay, I'm serving spiritual master, doesn't only mean that serving him like physically, serving his instructions. The Vani, right? The instruction. So whatever the instruction spiritual master is given. And spiritual master gives specific instruction to specific disciples, right? As per the time, places, and circumstances. And that's the duty of the disciple, to take that instruction and basically work on that. Because other than that, there is no way to actually progress in the spiritual life. Otherwise, we will have all the nice arrangements, I can have a nice house, a nice altar, nice deities, everything. But the actual progress will happen unless we take those instructions, the Vani, and we actually we surrender to those. We have to make a point that whatever has been told to us, we take it very seriously and we apply it in our life. By any means, if we can't do it by ourselves, we take help, but we have to make the endeavor to do it. Because in that way, that how Srila Prabhupada is saying that here in the purport, that for a disciple, with our limited knowledge, it's not possible that we understand the whole dynamics of spiritual life. It's huge. It's infinite. Krishna is infinite, right? So Krishna consciousness is infinite. So it's not possible for us to understand all the dynamics. But the spiritual master will give us, as per our capability, he will tell us, okay, this is what we should do. And also, he will also tell us that, this probably you haven't thought about, you also should do that. That's why here in Parikshit Maharaj is asking that, please tell me what actually I haven't asked yet. The Parikshit Maharaj has asked all these questions. Now he is asking, okay, can you please tell me that what I haven't asked yet? So here, that's why in the last part, Srila Prabhupada is saying in the purport that factually it is not possible for a man to inquire about everything from the spiritual master. But the bona fide spiritual master is able to enlighten the disciple in every way for the disciple's benefit. So it's just such a wonderful this relationship between the spiritual master and the disciple. It's something that relationship is something you just can't explain. From in this material world, some of the relationship that we say that it's not, obviously in material world everything is gross and everything is degraded. But some of the relationship, in terms of relationship, we say that okay, these are really high. We put them in a very high regard, right? A relationship between a mother and a child. What do we see? That the mother does everything to make sure the children remains in a good, they are in a good situation, right? And what we see from mother's perspective, it's always from their perspective, it's always sacrifice. They always sacrifice, they always give up things so that the children, they have the better comfort, or they remain in a better situation. But on the other hand, do we see that the children can reciprocate in the same way to the mother? They can't. When they are little, they can't. They even make more and more, issues, so that the mother have lots of patience, lots of tolerance, and that's how it's a special relationship. And we see that that is a relationship that we can compare. That is a spiritual relationship, but what's the point there? That is a relationship based on sacrifice, right? That is a relationship which is based on your how committed, your commitment. So similarly, this relationship between the guru and disciple, the guru takes so much sacrifice, because taking care of a disciple is not easy. When you are giving, as per the Vedic rituals, if someone is given initiation, that means that whatever the karma of those disciple, it will come to guru. So even the guru hasn't done anything, even a guru is have done all the thing, all the karma will come to him. So it's a big sacrifice, Time to time you have to go through some kind of inconveniences, which is probably not because of you, but because of the disciple. But they take that sacrifice because they want to make sure that the disciple, okay, if they are in better situated in Krishna consciousness, I'm happy to take the sacrifice. That's what Srila Prabhupada did. So that's why this. And then from disciple side is the surrender and the commitment to the guru. So that's how we see that, and the way it has been, from the Vedic time, all the knowledges and everything the guru always gives to the disciple, right? Like we see that the Puranas and the Upanishad. The word Upanishad literally means that who sits, you bring someone closer to you, like an Upanishad, and then you give that knowledge. So the gurus actually used to give that knowledge in that way to the disciples, and then it used to go into the parampara via Shruti. At that point of time, there was no books, no printed papers or anything like that. So they used to give the knowledge to the disciple. Disciple used to take the knowledge, they used to apply that knowledge, then they becomes the guru, then they give that knowledge to the next level of disciples. So that's how it used to go. So it's just that relationship. Unfortunately, in this present day and age, we do that chain, that disciplic succession, in that way, in a sense, it's not there anymore. But then again, we see that, by mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we had that opportunity to again connect ourselves to that disciplic succession, which started from Krishna, Brahma, and then it comes down to Srila Prabhupada, and then we can join in that disciplic succession. But for that, some of the criteria that has been mentioned here, that a disciple needs to be inquisitive, needs to be surrendered, and in that way, the knowledge which is gained will help him to understand the spiritual realm and surrender to the Lord. So, on that note, I'd like to end here. Thank you for attending the class. Ganthraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nithai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.